thank you all for your comments. In the interest of time, I have been showing the slides for the 3 communities that we have listed. And so Comshi was the first one, and their DSL services were sent a notification of the suspension of services for Comshi through the AT&T services were being discontinued. And during that time period, the services actually went down. The Comshi Broadband community filed a motion with the CPUC that has temporarily enabled them to retain services to the best of my knowledge at this point, but that might be fleeting. And others might have input, brief input on Comshi, and then we can flip through to Wallala and Kovala. Ted, would you like to provide any additions, or Tom, anyone that wants to indicate the circumstances surrounding Comshi? Well,
just speculating, I've wondered how much of the willingness is to keep the service active is the result of the complaint filed versus AT&T withdrawing the cell tower. Not that the cell tower would have been a perfect footprint, but in theory, it would have provided better service than the DSL that was there. It's I had a talk last week with AT&T. Donna is providing as much information as she can, but it's rarely transparent. It's hard to figure out what the motivations are. Maybe there's an opportunity for us to build a stronger partnership with AT&T where they can give us some guidance as to how to align our direction with where they want to go. But we're clearly not there yet. The other comment is, if I were in Comshi, I would want DSL today because it's the best option. But I would, if I could get Starlink, I would drop that AT&T in a heartbeat. We have people who are on 384K. My brother the other day in a couple states north was showing me his broadband speed, and it's just under a gigabit. And so, we're off by that. We got 3 zeros. I think what we consider broadband in some areas really isn't, and we see carriers end of lifing that technology for good reason. We're just caught in a difficult position that we don't have an alternative.
Right. Well, has anybody talked to North Coast Internet? They seem to be in close proximity there.
I have not had that conversation.
I mean,
and so to briefly cover Wallala as well, CalNEVA on September 3rd issued a letter indicating that by the end of the month of September, they would be suspending services. And so the Municipal Advisory Council of Wallala did an intervention with the help of Tom West, director of North Bay North Coast Broadband Consortium, and Supervisor Ted Williams and myself, drafted letters to help plead their cause with the CPUC. And as it is, CalNEVA sent a subsequent letter before the shutoff that they have entered into a letter of intent with another carrier to provide services through the end, to transfer services, and that they would be cooperating through the end of the year to ensure that continued service.
Has that happened?
To my knowledge, I appreciate that you had reached out to Tom Murphy to ask for any additional information.
He didn't respond.
Pending that response, it's my understanding that the CalNEVA customers have continued service. I don't know who the carrier is, but.
Well, I figured maybe he would tell you or Supervisor Williams that maybe they're under a gag order not to share that.
I tend to think the latter is the case.
Okay.
Any comments or questions with regard to Wallala? Covelo, I know that during the fires, there were planned outages, which was highly problematic. I mean, we appreciate the Mendocino County Sheriff's Office did what was necessary to provide continued services and assure the public that they were at the ready. That is one aspect of Covelo. I think Chair Haschak had some input with regard to a carrier that is providing relief. And so now would be a great time to brief us on that, if you would, Supervisor Haschak.
Well, thanks. Yeah, we've had a series of conversations, probably half a dozen or so meetings with Senator McGuire and U.S. Cellular, Cal OES, and county officials trying to get a short-term and a long-term fix for the problems up there. And so it looks like there's some level of short-term fix, certainly not sufficient, and then they're working with the tribe to get the a lease for a cell tower site, and there's a working group dealing with that, and it looks like they're making good progress. So it actually sounded, like I said before, that they're ahead of schedule.
Excellent. Thanks for that input. I would advance to the next slide and note that Spy Ego Media is working on a cell tower and has received funding for that cell tower. I think that Tom West has had more direct contact with, blanking on his name, James
Guzman,
Guzman.
Gusman.
Thank you. And so this URL at the bottom of this slide, it provides a good update and lots of valuable information about that tower project. I thought I had it up on my browser so I could screen share with you, but I could work on that. Any other thoughts or questions with regard to the Covelo community's challenges? I'm going to see whether I can find that website. In the interim, hang on, here it is. Screen share. Here we are. I'll just scroll. Common questions. I thought that they're presenting this information was useful toward our ends as well. So they have frequently asked questions with regard to cell phones and microwave towers and such. In the interest of time, I am scrolling through quickly without comments. They do also have lots of pictures on additional pages. But with that, I will move along the agenda if I can, because we are 4 minutes to the hour.